Do other interdimensionals have feelings? Much love, and you rock. So, as many of you are probably aware, I do not share the popular New Age or pop spirituality view of interdimensionals. I understand that very well because that is where I cut my teeth. That is how I personally entered the scene. So that's something that I understand, but I don't adhere to these popular ideas about aliens and interdimensionals. So from what I know, every single alien that we see, or every single interdimensional that we see, and the more appropriate word is interdimensional. Alien fundamentally suggests that that being is something different than us. Alien and extraterrestrial suggests that that being that we see that appears on our planet is different than us fundamentally at its core. And we have to be very, very careful with language because language forms our mind, which then forms our spirit, okay, on this plane. So it is not alien. These beings are not alien. These beings are not extraterrestrials because they're not fundamentally different or other than us. They're not even really coming from another star system. They're coming from another time. And star systems and planets really represent to us fundamentally another time of ourselves because everything is interconnected. That is the point of spirituality, is to understand exactly how, as a science, everything in the cosmos is interconnected through a very precise system of cosmic development. Okay? So interdimensional beings are what we are seeing. The gray aliens are interdimensional beings. Reptilian-looking beings are interdimensional beings. The myriad of humanoid forms that we are seeing are interdimensional beings. That's how we should refer to them because that acknowledges fundamentally that they are primarily another aspect of ourselves, that they are not other, that they have a secret in their existence that has to do with us, and our ability to see them, our ability to perceive them is all about understanding what that secret is. But this has been completely inverted in the New Age and in modern spirituality to a materialist form, where that becomes another, that is primarily just from another planet, that has no real relation to us other than that we're under the same God system. This is a backwards and materialist ideology that is not true, and the belief in it will lead you into an increasingly more materialist Luciferian existence. How we think about these things defines us. So it's very, very important that we think about them in the way that they are most true. Okay? So, now to get to your question about whether interdimensionals have feelings. The easiest and most simple way to interpret interdimensionals' ability to feel, which is essentially to be human. To feel is to be human. The moment that a human loses its ability to feel, they degrade. Okay, just like if a human being doesn't develop the ability to think at a certain point, we degrade it into apes, okay, to an ape-like form. It was our inability to develop the mind as the Atlantean epoch was coming on that caused the degeneration of the developing human form to materialize as an ape-like form, okay? This was too much feminine energy and the inability to develop the mind, which is more of a masculine force in the cosmos. Okay, so there's that degeneration. Now, where we are, we already had that phase where we are, the inability to maintain the feeling body as the mind is now developed also causes degeneration, but in a more futuristic way. So we actually begin to devolve into what you would see as the grays, or even other different types of gray beings that look differently, that are different heights, that have different noses, that have different looks. Because once the human being degrades or devolves, there's a desperation to stop that degradation process, because of the consequences spiritually and physically that happen are basically you don't exist in the same way anymore. So the first phase of panic for these groups is to steal the genetics of humanity to try to introduce themselves back into the life wave. So this is why we see so many bizarre interdimensionals that look like different things, because this is a pattern that has been happening for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. And they all come back and say, we're just an alien, because they don't want you to know what they are. But fundamentally, these interdimensionals that we're seeing, especially the most common one is the alien gray, so I will focus on that today. These don't have feelings. So your question was, do other interdimensionals have feelings? No, that is actually what defines the loss of the human form. The human form is the form of the cosmos. The current human form on Earth that is organic is the embodiment of the cosmos. It has taken timeless evolutions of cosmic cycles to create the body that we have now, that has not been destroyed by transhumanism or excessive genetic mutation. Okay, once you start going down the transhumanism route and the eugenics route of intense genetic mutation, you begin to lose your form. We don't get to play God like that. We don't have the ability to do that at our level. So now you start to get all of these beings that are losing their humanity quite literally because they're playing God and they don't understand the cosmic system that they exist in. They don't understand how it works. And they're trapped in this divergent stream of evolution. It is the most important teaching of this time. We do not want to degenerate. And it is right in front of us. The interdimensionals that have feelings are what we would describe as superhuman. So there are interdimensionals that have been called many different things, and they are actually superhuman. So these are the bodhisattvas. These are sometimes appearing as masters. These will sometimes appear in earlier phases of development as Venusians, as Pleiadians. The planetary reference here is talking about a level of initiation in which they are coming to Earth with. Not that they are literally from that star system as much as it is their level of initiation in the cosmos that is embodied by that star system, because that's how all mystery schools work. Is you take on more and more cosmic energy as you evolve. And at certain times, that cosmic energy is identified and encapsulated in certain planetary spheres or stars. So they're letting you know their level of human initiation. They're not aliens, not even close. They are literally what you and I will one day become. It is the initiation that we hope to all face. So these are great initiators, and we called them angels. Okay, now there are also fallen angels, which represent the stream of the degenerate timeline, the grays and the various different modified human beings that no longer have their holy sacred form. They're no longer human. Okay, that's a very serious issue in the cosmos. So the angelic humans that we call aliens, but they're really just, traditionally they would be called angelic humans or interdimensionals. They feel so much deeper than even we feel. In anthroposophy, you can find more information on this, about the development of the 12 senses. There's more than even 5 senses, okay? So we actually feel more. We actually become more in tune with the mineral kingdom, the animal kingdom, the earth, other stars. We become more sensitive. We become more in tune. We become more harmonized, okay? And there are very specific initiatory processes that we can take to get there that will be introduced in the coming centuries, reintroduced if we can manage to get through this really crazy time. So to sum this question up, what defines at this point in time The degenerated timeline, the devolution timeline, the regressive timeline is literally these interdimensional beings, or this divergent timeline of humanity. They no longer know how to feel. That's why when people have these abduction experiences, they feel like they're just being used like cattle. They're just pieces of crap to these different beings, because those beings literally don't have the ability to feel empathy. They're incomplete. They're degenerated. All they have is advanced technology. That's all they have left. They sacrifice themselves to have technology. And by the way, the angelic forces, the superhuman ETs, the superhuman interdimensionals that we will one day become at their level, they don't use technology. And this is the funniest thing about this whole phase that we're in, is when you get to that angelic stage of development in the cosmos, you don't use a spaceship. You don't have to. All of that entire impulse of development was brought inward. The kingdom of heaven is within. And this was possible after only within the last 2,000 years. Moving forward, we develop everything to happen within us, okay? We don't need a spaceship. We don't need genetic modification. We don't need that technology to evolve. This is all divergent timeline, dark stuff. When you truly develop in this cosmos to a higher level of evolution, you do not need physical technology to do things. It is not outside of us anymore. The great masters, the great bodhisattvas that guide humanity, they don't appear in a ship, you guys. They're not appearing in a UFO. They literally can ride the cosmos, the great dragon of the cosmos, through their mind. They can use that if they want. It's available to them, and they are guardians of very high levels of technology so that humanity doesn't destroy themselves. But they're like relics of the past to them. They're relics of Atlantis, when humanity did use this technology because everything was externalized to humanity, because we had not gone through the initiation of the Christ in the Greco-Roman era, which brought everything within. So everything was outside at that point, but we are no longer in that phase. So we no longer need that, but there's this huge echo, this huge impulse. It's still recapitulating that long after we've moved beyond it, and that's where you get the divergent timeline. So when you get to these higher levels of spiritual evolution, you don't use technology. You don't need it. You don't need a chip in your brain to be psychic, to tap into the Akashic records. That's actually splitting your consciousness to a degree that is very hard to get back. See how that's a mockery and an inversion of where we're genuinely going? Is this clear? Because, and I just want to repeat it one more time, higher beings, advanced beings, they don't use technology like that. It is available to them. They do have it. They can use it if they want to. But again, it's more of a relic. And that's the whole point of like Merkaba development and various things like that. The whole creation of technology in the Atlantean epoch was actually to understand how our inner system worked. That's why advanced technology is always a mirror of how our aura works and stuff like that, or how our bioenergetic field works. But if you cannot turn inward and develop yourself through proper purification and initiation, you'll just continually seek to evolve externally through transhumanism, through technology, through spreading out into the cosmos, living off of various different planets like a parasite, never learning how to truly align with your inner self, and therefore align with the harmony of the planet, and therefore evolve with the life stream of the cosmos. You're always outside of it because you can't make that flip inward. That is the divergent timeline. That is what we're looking at. And we must come to know this very, very clearly in the coming decades. We must come to know the difference between the organic timeline of life, which involves eventually no technologies at all. It's all done within. And the divergent timeline that just starts creating, changing themselves, trying to change their DNA in order to become better, and just working only upon the physical self, only upon the physical world, thinking that that's going to lead to some kind of superiority or advancement. And it doesn't. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Okay? So interdimensionals that are angelic in their presence, that are angels essentially, that are on the angelic realm or the archangelic level of initiation, whether they're actually an angel or just a human being that has risen to that level, they have more feelings than we can comprehend, more sensitivities, more abilities to feel than we can even comprehend. We are fighting to get that back now. But the dark entities are the definition of a psychopath. That they're the definition of the narcissist. They are the embodiment of it. They have no feeling. So when they abduct you, they don't care. They can't feel. They're actually taking people to get their feelings back, to get their humanity back. And that is the thing that people in the New Age and various different spiritual circles that worship these entities, that have bought into the lie, will not ever take seriously or reveal, even though it's the most glaringly obvious sign of something that is dark.